Good girl, you amaze me.
This is how much.
And I want to make this a happy place for bees. It's one of the reasons we have so many fruit trees.
So this method I'm showing you is using dry, dead wood or wood that hasn't leafed out yet. You can also use fresh leaves in the spring. You can use bagged leaves from someone else's property. I like to grow my own comfrey to use for mulch. And, you know, if you had a wood chipper and you had a lot of deadfall that was small on your property, you could also make your own mulch that way. Mulch can be very expensive. You need a container to be able to get it home, or a pickup to bring large quantities, or you need a dump truck. But a lot of times tree services are not really reliable about bringing you the mulch when you need it. And so being creative and finding other ways to mulch your property are a good way to save money, a good way to save time and your sanity, because you do need to apply your mulch at the right time of year in order for it to do any good, which is before the weeds are there. So enjoy the rest of the film.
But the trick with deep mulching and not having to go and buy your own mulch is that as you trim things off of your tree, I'll show you. Now I am going to fan these vines out, so I don't really want to take any of those off. But say for instance I wanted this one. Okay, so here's a stick. If I put this on the ground like this, people are going to trip over it, it's going to be in the way, and it's not going to be pretty. If I start at one end and just clip a couple inches off and get myself good a couple times, then that is small enough that it is mulch. If you do these little jobs one a day, it's not overwhelming. And so that's what Paige is doing. She's taking some of our herbs and she is cutting them down to the point where they look more like mulch and less like sticks and branches. And that way, over time, we have been deep mulching with straw and hay up to this point, and also some wood chips. We've been doing that for 5 years. For the last 2 years, we've been putting it on every single space in the backyard. So this whole backyard is completely deep mulched that deep. Underneath, we have black dirt. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try and get down and show.
On the digital zoom in. Yep, we got it.
We have dirt.
Or back up, you got a shadow on it.
We have dirt instead of rocks. Now on our property, these are the rocks that we grow. And we don't actually have a lot of soil between them, so you can't actually dig a post hole or garden well here. It's very, very difficult. It's very hard on tractors to get through our soil, at least on our piece of property. If you go a couple miles the other way or a couple miles that way, it's not the case, but on ours, that's what we grow. And so those also work well as mulch around fruit trees. See, here's my worm. I got a happy worm. We didn't have worms until we started to do the deep mulch. And so now it was expensive to bring all that mulch in, but it was really worth it because until we did, nothing grew. And the way that we got that mulch to break down well, honey, calm down, stop, stop, here, stop, no, stop. Don't get some of the Siberian pea shrub instead of big noisy ones, okay? So the problem with mulch in our area is that straw is what's available. And the straw has been heavily sprayed with pesticides and herbicides. So we prefer it to be very moldy. I personally believe that mold and fungus eats that poison because when we have applied it moldy, it hasn't killed the trees. When you apply it fresh, it has a tendency to kill things. So we use moldy hay, we use moldy straw, we use wood chips, and a lot of times it'll just sit on the ground and do nothing. The best way to get good, healthy soil quickly is to put ducks on it. And what will happen is the ducks will walk on it and they'll poop a lot. They won't dig things up much, so your mulch will stay where you want it. And then after your ducks have been through it, you can put 1, maybe 2 chickens on it, and the chickens will stir it up just enough to get that manure off the surface and worked down just a little bit. It is important, the ratio of duck to chicken. If you have too many ducks and no chickens, it turns into a slimy, capped situation. If you have too many chickens, they stir up all the mulch and you lose it. We usually use ducks to do our weeding. In these spots, whenever you plant something new, I put rocks on it, I put a cage around it, and it keeps the chickens and the ducks from getting down into the small roots. If you have a small bush and they eat all the roots, they die. If they get down and eat all the roots around your fruit trees, they don't produce fruit. And so it takes management, but it does make it a system that over time takes over and you don't have to babysit it anymore. It's nice to get out early before the weeds start to get out of hand, because if you're trying to keep weeds down and doing this kind of major maintenance, it'll overwhelm you. You won't be able to get it all done. But here, before the weeds start to come in, this is a good time to do it. They're starting to bud out and blossom out just a little bit. But
the 19 cherries are starting to bud and flower.
Yep, everything's just thinking about budding, so if we can do it now, that's a good thing. So our channel is about self-reliance. It's about growing on your own space, and it doesn't matter what your job is or what your occupation is. If you have something like this, it feels like a fallback. You know, if you ever don't have enough money, you always have enough food. And we have a very small space. Even if we just had what's in our backyard, we could supply our family with a lot of our own food. We could feed ourselves with fruit, vegetables, and meat and eggs. We have everything here in this small space. We have an 1.5 acres, but we use that to feed our dairy goats. And but it's exciting to be back, and we will show you our progress of all the things we're doing. Tomorrow we're going to have, no, I won't talk about that because tomorrow would not be tomorrow. So go ahead and watch our videos, go check out our series. We've been on a road trip for 8 months, and now we're back kind of trying to get things worked out before summer comes on. Hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and water. If I can keep from putting my braids in my